hate to be the one to break it to you, but sex education of the past failed us. Because birds and bees, they don't fuck. Welcome to Birds and Bees Don't Fuck, a show where we learn exactly how bad our formative sex education, or lack thereof, really was. I'm your host, Ariel Zadok. My guest today is an adult actor, producer, intimacy coordinator, sex worker advocate, UX Hall of Fame recipient, winner of the X-Biz Rise Peer Empowerment Award, and literally so much more, including a Leo. Please welcome to the show, Lotus Lain.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, girl. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I honestly, I could have just kept reading other things about you and other things that you've done that are fucking amazing because that is who you are.
Thank you. I like the all the inflection that you put on the words because it was pumping me up each time you were saying something new. So it's yeah, I could listen to you say it too. So.
Fuck yeah. Well, you'll have a recording, so you can listen to me pumping you up anytime you need that. I'm going to do one of these just in case.
Sweet.
Yeah, that actually looks so good against the orange. Oh, very Leo.
Oh, I know, huh?
Girl.
The fiery colors.
Oh my God. The moment that we both found out that we were Leos was so fucking funny. We were taking a photo and someone
Danny. Yeah, because he was the one that knew that about both of our horses.
Yes. Oh my God. That was so funny. And we were just like, oh my God. And we caught that on camera.
Yeah, it was cute. It was a very Leo moment.
It was a very Leo moment. And we love that. And also I think Leos working in sex and sexuality, just kind of makes sense. Y'all think it's the Scorpios, but no.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of Leos in the sex world.
Yeah, Susan Bratton's a Leo too.
Oh, really?
Do you know Susan Bratton?
I've heard the name, but I don't know her personally.
Yeah, she's lovely, and she is a fucking Leo too, and she is very Leo pride mom.
Okay,
vibes.
Yeah. Do you know Annie Sprinkle?
No, I love that name.
She's a sex worker mama too, and she's someone from the 70s, from the early days in the New York street scene and everything, and she's a Leo. She's kind of like my porn mom.
Oh, I love that. Oh, tell us about porn mom.
Yeah, she's kind of like an advocate too. Oh, not kind of. She's very much one of the OGs of sex work advocacy. So yeah, she was in the early days of peep shows. So before porn was porn.
Yeah.
And yeah, she lives in San Francisco with her wife, and they still do amazing, cool sex-based work, artsy installments and things like that, and support other sex workers and their events and branching out. So she's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's really also cool. Just to see someone who was in this industry way back then who is still alive and well.
Yeah.
Very specifically alive and well.
Yeah, and well in her 70s. Yeah.
Yes. Because we just lost Catherine O'Hara, she was not in the sex space.
She's
but
another mother though. I very much, I think to
she's
a lot
my
of
comedy mom.
Kind of queer, weirdo, fun.
I went to Second City also. So growing up seeing her as just oh my God. And my mom's name is Catherine with a C also.
Oh, okay.
So there was always a lot of
a
connection. Yeah. But also I went through Second City. She went through Second City. So some of these hit really hard. But to the point of sex workers or just really anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community who was doing stuff and alive in the 70s, to have them, it's just the unfortunate truth, to have them be alive at all now is a fucking gift, let alone really to have them still active in the community.
It is. Yeah. She is really a gift. Yeah. She was also I think one of the main sex work consultants on HBO's, what is that show that was about sex work in the 70s? I forget the name.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking that was The Deuce. Was it
The Deuce?
Yeah.
Yes,
they were also the first ones, I believe. That's the one that Alicia Cotis worked on as the first intimacy coordinator, right?
Yeah. I think that's part of what inspired me. It felt oh my God, everything's aligning. I should follow this path.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Let's go down that path. How did you become an intimacy coordinator? What were you doing first?
I was involved in the adult industry mostly as a performer and an advocate, and I had done some producing by that point. And some of the things that I had introduced when producing for Erica Luss Productions was like this kind of code of conduct to piggyback off of some values that they already had, but just to kind of clarify that we wanted to make it an anti-racist, anti-transphobic space. And there were some other things. Myself, I was the producer, and my director, Bobby Gordon, came up with. And I feel like after that, they adopted it for their greater, productions at large that they use still to this day. But yeah, that was around 20. I feel like it was mid-pandemic because there was a point when we had to stop production and like we had to so it was somewhere in the, years get lost. So it was 2021, 2022,
2020
like
something.
foggy something times.
Yeah.
And we got through it. So yeah, that's really when I got my start of like, wow, I should pursue this more seriously, get the accreditation, certification, and all of that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think people have a misconception, and I don't know if you're doing intimacy coordinating in adults specifically, or if you're only doing mainstream, or like you bridge.
That's where I got started, but
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of mainstream now.
Yeah.
I haven't done TV, so it's been mostly film and commercials, funny enough.
Yeah, that's great that they're doing commercials, because I
Yes.
come from commercial production, and I'm like,
Okay.
we fucking need it there. Like the amount of times that I've done, I lived in New Zealand, and my start as an intimacy coordinator. Actually, my story is an orgy story.
Oh, that's more spicy. I like that.
Yeah. I was, you were in a real sex situation. This was on Spartacus, and this was in 2012, and they did not, like, there was no such thing as an intimacy coordinator at the time.
Yeah,
like, it was
that's
so
true.
far away. I think maybe there was like a college paper on theatrical intimacy, but like that's pretty much it. There was nothing in terms of like what we do today.
When I looked it up in the early days, it was just theater based,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should, shy away from this. But now we see.
Yeah. But I came to work, and I was the AD that was overseeing the background. So every day I would set the background, I would direct them, because in TV, like, the directors can't direct the background. You need an AD to do that. They like literally cannot speak to background. It's a contract thing.
Right. Or they become like part of this spoken
feature,
cast or something.
Yeah. And they get
I
like different money, and it's like a whole thing. So you have assistant directors that direct them and do all that. So that's what I did on that show. And I came into work one day, and they were like, okay, so we're shooting in a brothel, and here's all the background. Here are like 25 people or 30 people, whatever it is. And like, you have to set them doing all these different sex acts and go off with yourself. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And there was no protocols. Like, there was nothing. So I just like separated people out by gender, because this was 2012. So I just separated them that way. And I had the background casting with all of their nudity writers, because they would get hired and paid based off of what they were like pre-agreeing to. So some people were hired just to like be naked. Some people were full nudity. Some people were to do this level of sexual act or that. So it's like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's background. So like, it was kind of a, not backwards, like maybe arguably that might be a little bit of a better way to do it in some cases, but like they knew what they were coming in for.
Yeah.
But none of it was set, and none of it was choreographed, and no one, like, nothing was decided.
It was just very vague.
It was just like, they are going to get paid to do up to this much. So I just had to like sit by myself. We had like 2 hours too before camera was rolling.
That's quick for that many people.
For that many people. And so like, I just had to sit there. And I was like, okay, what is every sexual act that I could possibly have people do in a brothel? Like, let me think of every single.
You need an expert for stuff like this.
You really fucking do. And lucky, I'd been studying sex unprofessionally since I was 8 years old. So I was like, I have ideas. And I think at that point I had also been to like sex clubs and things like that. So like, your girl had some thoughts.
Sounds like a Leo to me.
Yeah, for real. I was like, what? Dance naked in a cage? Don't mind if I do. What's that? Give a blowjob in front of people? Sure. I am very good. So I just like made a list of everything, had people in different rooms, and I was like, raise your hand if you feel comfortable doing this. Wow. Now raise your hand if you feel comfortable doing it with someone of the same gender, of a different gender. Like, it was just this fucking wild process.
Yeah,
and then I had to like look at and then I'd be like, okay, can this person do this with this? Please look up their contract. Can this person do this? Okay, now I can set them. It was fucking bananas. And then to the point of commercials, I did commercials where people were like fucking and giving blowjobs and topless and stuff like that. So like, That's New Zealand, baby.
Yeah, that's funny because they do show like, oh, look at these funny commercials in other countries and they're very racy. You don't think because we're just watching it laughing like, oh, this is very racy, pushing
Yeah.
the edge, that there should be some sort of intimacy help or coordination going along with that. Yeah, that's funny.
I did a commercial. This was also, I was ADing it. This was in 2019. I was doing a Christmas commercial. Won't say the brand, but it was a Christmas commercial for like a big box store. And the actress, there was this, it was like a series of vignettes, and the actors did not know that they were supposed to kiss. And if
I love
like,
when that
I
happens
was
on
like, are
set.
you fucking
They
kidding?
find
So
out
like,
on set.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, we need to pause everything right now because I need to now go and have these separate conversations with people. And I will be back in however long this takes. And this was before I was officially an intimacy coordinator as well, but I just knew the process, and I knew, like, because, you know, those of us who've
Yeah.
been interested, we're always studying it anyway. So I'm just like, this is wild that we're like, how are people not thinking, like, you're kissing
Yeah. That
someone?
should be at least the first thing discussed so they know that they should agree to that. Yes or no. Should I take this job? Yeah.
Yeah.
The
It's
surprise on set of what they're actually going to do is actually never fun because it's like you're the one breaking it to them. And it almost feels like, well, it is unethical. It almost feels like now I'm trying to convince you to do it.
literally,
And I hate that. That's not the way,
that's
that's
not
not the
that's
way
not
it
the
should be.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very much a lot of the language that I use when I'm coordinating is like, this is what the vision is, but I'm
Yes.
going to tell you, we can tell the same story 1,000 different ways. So we're going to go based off of how you want to tell the story of this vision. And
Yeah.
that's it.
That's
Like,
a good way of putting it.
yeah, because that's the truth of it. I mean, how many times have you had to pivot on set? Not even like outside of intimacy coordinating, just like, oh, the location fell through. This bed
Yeah.
is actually a couch. This location isn't this. This, you know, the actor is sick today. Or like, we
A
only
lot of
have one set of
improvisation.
costumes.
Yeah.
We can't actually do this thing, you know? It's that, so there really are so many ways that we can do the same thing.
That's what I kind of love about intimacy coordinating is finding the challenge of fitting all the puzzle of the variables together and making it work
Yeah.
in ways where people like they just get stuck and they're like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And you're like, well, okay, did we consider all the options? I have
Yeah.
all these ideas.
Mhm. That's it. We're like, I mean, people in production in general have to be experts at pivoting and figuring out different ways, which is why it's like, y'all, this is a city where like the entire industry is fucked and nobody can get jobs, but we are like we're like the best employees that you would ever possibly have in your company because of the shit that we have had to do and figure out and pivot through.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the funny thing is that I was realizing recently is sometimes I've been called to set where there aren't even any actual intimate scenes,
Mhm.
like the way people traditionally think of intimacy. Um, and this still happens even post Me Too, where I was called to a set just on the final day because the director was being too leery to the female actresses and they refused to shoot the last scenes unless there was an intimacy coordinator there. And I was talking to, I think it was the special effects guy, and he was like, oh, what is your role on set? And I told him intimacy coordinator. He goes, funny, there's no sex scenes on this movie. And I was like, I know, right? And I
Yeah.
just kind of left it at that. Like, yeah, I'm here, but yeah, I know, right? Interesting name that it has for my title, but yeah.
Yeah, and that is the really interesting part because also when I'm doing a script breakdown, I'm pulling everything that I think an actor might have questions on,
Yeah.
including stunts. Like, I am not a stunt coordinator, but I have
Right.
questions.
Yeah,
And I
there
want
are
to be able to talk about
moments.
that stuff.
There are moments I've noticed where they don't have a stunt coordinator
Yeah.
in, but maybe there calls for like some violence or some
Mhm.
like maneuvering of bodies in a way that's not necessarily intimate. And I'm like, should I be the one coordinating this fall
Yeah.
drop moment?
Which and I don't do that, but I do ask like, hey, there's a knife in this scene. How do
Yeah.
we plan on doing that? Let me have the conversation. And I do prep the directors just be like, listen, I'm going to be asking you questions about things that I already know I'm not going to be there for, but I think that the cast might have questions. So
Yeah.
we're going to go through all that stuff. And sometimes it's just like costumes, but sometimes it is stunts. So I could be like, are you going to have a stunt coordinator there? Because the actor
Yes.
should not have to ask you that question. And if I need
And
to be
I'm
the
not
person,
going to be there to
I
help
am
with
not
this.
a stunt coordinator,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, but I will tell you, and I will fight for the actor to be like,
Yeah.
they're dropping out of something, or there's a knife on set or whatever. Like we
Mhm.
need, like you need to have a stunt coordinator here for that. And
Yeah.
if you don't, then the actor is not going to do it. And I will do that
Right.
for them.
Yeah, I agree that I feel sometimes the name intimacy coordinator is like a misnomer because people think, oh, they straight think to sex.
Yeah.
But then there's so many other things like this and like the other thing I was saying, like where it's beyond intimacy,
Mhm.
but there are other considerations that we're there for.
It's like fuck around and find out. Like we're going to make sure that we're going to find out before we fuck around.
Yeah,
It's the find out crew. Like we just
yeah,
going to find out. Like let me find out about that.
yeah.
That's the thing. I feel like, and also with like showers and bathtubs,
Oh God,
I
yeah.
feel like my job is just like, how do I keep the actor in like I'm like a nervous system coordinator. Like, how do I keep your nervous system feeling good so you can perform to the best of your abilities? And sometimes that also means I'm going to choreograph some shit and that'll be really fun. But mostly I'm like, how do I keep your nervous system balanced? What do you need to know to do that? Is the bathtub going to be fucking warm?
That's my
Like,
main thought
yes,
because getting
always.
wet and then pausing and resetting and waiting and they're redoing lighting and
Yeah.
the opposite shot, it could just get cold
It could get cold
in these
I have-
drafty houses.
Yes, and like I'll be there like
shoot
filling it up with hot
studios.
water again. I'm
Mhm.
like, how do we?
Or if they have a robe close by.
Yeah, all of it, and just like making sure that they're not in the fucking bathtub for an hour
Just sitting
shooting
there
this
waiting.
scene. Like we don't need to
Getting-
do that. Like
getting raisiny.
let's be, and also maybe it's like the producer AD and me too. I'm like, there's a better way to shoot this, and we need to shoot this in a better
Yeah.
way. Just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean I don't, because I'm experienced.
Yeah, having been in other roles, you do see other people's time efficiency or lack thereof sometimes.
Especially because you come from producing as well. So
Yeah, where I'm just like, we really do not have to go into overtime. I don't understand why some people are yelling.
yeah,
You know, like you literally still see people yelling on set, and
like,
I'm just
that
like,
is- in this
okay.
2026.
Yeah, in 2026, we're still doing
How
this.
are we still yelling?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I probably came up around the same time where like people had this God complex on set, especially like old male ADs.
Yeah.
There was I literally had an AD once. I think I was second ADing, or maybe I was like coordinating or something like that. But I literally had a first AD say, I'm God on this set. And I was like, what
Oh my
now?
God. That would be so hard to not laugh in his face hearing
Yeah.
that, because that's crazy.
I kind of did. I think I like turned off the radio. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
bro, what the fuck ever. And it was over
Serious.
like boxed water. It was photo. It was a photo shoot that we were doing. And the photographer specifically wanted only box water. And like I think I was coordinating or maybe production managing, but like I had like this huge order. I had to get it specially. I was in New York and it was like a special. I had to send somebody out to fucking Jersey just to get these fucking waters. And then I did order enough, but then they didn't give me enough or something. It was like something fucking stupid
Yeah.
that I did everything I could to prevent from happening. But like the box water didn't have enough boxes, or it was so stupid. And we had to like go send someone out. I don't even know.
Wow.
But this man was like, I'm God on this set. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah, some people only have moments of power when they are on set and they really try to flex it. Sad.
Yeah. So that brings me to an interesting question around anything that you've noticed, because you have been on sets where there is real sex still performed, but actual sexual acts are happening and simulated sex is happening.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's any pattern in power dynamics, or like anything that you see that's a difference in one area versus another.
I will say there is a similarity in power dynamics with the director and the producer. I mean, they are in charge. Yeah, I would say there's a similarity in the way the sound person operates and probably lighting person operates. I would say on mainstream sets, the camera operator is a lot more respected, revered, like they're the DP, the director of photography. Whereas like, I don't know, maybe on adult sets, it could just be the camera person is still respected, but maybe not to that high a degree. Let's see.
That's really interesting because the camera department in mainstream is a little much.
Yeah.
Y'all need to calm it down because y'all are a little bit too much.
Yeah, they take themselves very seriously.
So seriously. It's hilarious.
And I definitely don't think they take themselves as seriously in adult.
Yeah.
Which can be fun, more playful. What was the second part of your question? Because I feel like I remembered
just like
something about that.
any like differences, like cultural differences on set, because ultimately like production is production, right? Like I have not done adult, but I've done every other form of like live events, live theater, regular, and production is production. But
I would say this is another similar. You would think that because of we're post Me Too, that there's no more sex jokes and things happening on mainstream sets, but it still happens.
It's still happening.
And then like sometimes I see people look at me like, the intimacy coordinator, which a lot of people think is like set sex police.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything unless you're literally harassing people,
Yeah.
which, sometimes I have one time recently, I had to actually tell an actor like, hey, mind your manners, because the sex jokes were getting a little bit too much to where I could see a bit of discomfort in other people's faces. And, sometimes people, that's all they need. They don't need like a stern talking to, but like if you just pull them aside and say, hey, like, mind your manners with the kind of conversations you're having. Not everyone is going to receive them the same way.
Yeah.
And as adults, hopefully that's as far as we need to take it. But, like I said, I have been called to a set specifically because actresses refused to show up back to set because the director couldn't, I don't know, behave.
Not be creepy?
Yeah,
I don't
not
know.
be
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just,
So.
And
I've had to have conversations with people as well, like pulling them aside and just being like, hey, or also like I've had situations where the sound person was making the lead actor feel like a woman feel really uncomfortable. So I became the person to mic her. And like, listen, as an AD, I've had to jump in and do things like that too.
And I understand that because I have noticed that they have to get really close and
very close.
Every sound person is mindful. I notice with a lot of old school, just in general, people behind set, they tend to treat actors very much like positionable ragdolls.
Yes.
Whereas we're very much taught not to like touch them.
Yeah.
Like give direction, like audibly, like through like voice direction.
Yeah. And there are like costumes has to touch them, makeup has to touch people. Like there is touch that's required in our industry. And it's just a matter of being like, just take that extra second to be like, hey, I need to put this over here.
Yeah. Is it okay if I,
or like, do you want to put this over here on yourself?
Right.
Or like, and I think in that scenario, it was like, she had to wear the mic like really high up on her thigh. And like, there were a couple of other things. She was also like 19 years old.
Right. So I'm sure it's so new for her.
Yeah. And she was so scared to say that she was uncomfortable. And I was like, we don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
I will mic you. Like, you don't need anybody else touching you. I like, I'll help you and talk you through, but like, I can mic you. Yeah. We can have costumes mic you, which costumes does do that a good amount because sometimes things are complicated.
Yeah, with their wardrobe.
Yeah. So it's like we're also just there to be like, you don't ever have to feel uncomfortable. You are in the workplace.
Yeah, I actually
you don't have to feel
like taking on that burden for them when they feel unsure or uncertain if they should even say something. And I'm like, no, just tell me what it is. I'll bring it up like it's my issue, like it's something I noticed, which it could be.
Yeah.
You never know who an issue comes from or a concern. And I think that's a big weight or burden that a lot of actors carry because they want to be hireable. They want to be seen as easygoing and fun to work with and not someone that's bringing up issues, but I don't want them to ever think of it that way. That's why I like being on set, just so that anything that might be a cause of concern can be something we're bringing up.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always like, I don't care if I ever get booked again.
Right.
Like, and I was like that as an AD too. I'm just like, producer, obviously I have more control. So like, not going to come into that, hopefully. But it's just like, listen, I don't care if I never work with these people again, so long as you feel comfortable and you can do your job in a way that you feel good about.
Truly, especially while I'm the one on set caring for your comfort and discomfort.
It's my job. Whether that means like, oh, you need a snack, I'll get you a snack. Like, I really feel like a big part of our job, or my job personally anyway, because I can only speak for myself, but I do feel like a big part of it, like I said, is like what does your nervous system need right now?
Yeah.
What do you need to be the best performer you can possibly be? And maybe
Yeah.
that's like a little bit of the coach in me, but it's also like I'm a person here to advocate for you. And sometimes that advocacy is you need to have water.
Yeah.
You
Or
need a
like your
snack.
slippers so you're not walking
Yeah.
around wires on set where there's
Yes.
wooden
I have
floorboards
slippers in my kit for that
barefoot.
reason. Yeah, exactly.
And everybody else on set is worried about repositioning their thing, worried about their job. Not to say that they're not thinking about the actor, but those are the things that I notice, when it's cut, the actor's like, okay, where's
Now
my
what?
shoes? Like, well, I'm just standing here. And then everyone's resetting and they're just like there. And that's why I'm like, yes, that's why it's so good that we are there to like, what do you need so you don't have to trip over these wires? I'll bring it.
And costumes is very helpful with those things. And like they have taken on the burden for decades at this point. But again, their focus is on something different. Their focus is the costumes. And yes, the person wears the costumes, but like our focus is just the person.
Yeah.
And the creative too, but like the person.
Being.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so nice that we have that. But so how did you start an adult and what was that transition like?
So for me, I started an adult when I was 30 and I just felt this like inner urge because I really hadn't done a lot of sexual exploration and I felt like I was like bursting at the seams. So I was like, which is funny now that we're in the crazy world that we are in. But at the time I was like, oh, there's no way that I will ever run for politics or anything like that. So I have nothing to worry about.
Girl, you should.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, especially the crazy world we live in now. Having worked in sex work might not and probably will not hold me back. Oh my God, we have criminals. Anyways, beyond criminals. So don't even get me started. So yeah, I was like, okay, dirty 30. I'm just going to go for it and do this and take the plunge and see what happens. So it's kind of like a social experiment that I just did with myself. And it was a lot more fun and a lot less scary and a lot more gratifying as a woman than I thought it would be. Degrading. Everybody says it's so degrading. So I just needed to kind of see for myself because of this lifelong fascination that I had with sex. So getting into adult, I did notice that a lot of the people and, performers that suffered a lot of the negative backlash that gets talked about were the younger performers. Me being 30 entering the industry, I felt like maybe there was some sort of shield on me, or maybe the predators that would be could sense that I was not going to like be easily fuck withable, because a lot of things that a lot of other people did suffer through didn't necessarily happen to me. And I think that's what motivated me to get into advocacy for the industry. I just felt the mother instinct in me come out. I wanted to protect young sluts of all ages. I wanted sex to not have to carry this burden of like disgustingness and perversity that was like based off of people taking advantage of each other. Because I love sex and sex does not have to be like that. And sex work doesn't have to be like that. And the representations that we see predominantly don't have to be like that negative and ugly depiction.
Yeah. And it is a really empowering thing because you are owning the art that you create with your body.
Literally, and the way I'm desired and the way I put my desire out and the way it's consumed, because before that I felt like I was just being consumed by the way men would look at me and leer at me, and I really didn't have any say over a boss that might be like flirting with me, but should I flirt back because I do want more money? But is this the way you really get ahead in the world? I was in my young 20s and these things are just happening, all the Me Too moments, and you don't know, like, is this the way the world works?
I guess I just gotta roll with these fucking punches, but how do I keep myself safe doing it? And I don't want to get fired. So like fawn, you know?
Right. So these are all the experiences that kind of led to me just being like, I'm just going to do this for myself and take charge of all of these moments being sexualized.
Yeah,
it led
I get paid for it.
Right. Yeah, it led to that. Yeah, because I really just did feel helpless, and I didn't want to feel like this helpless feeling made me want to like hide my sexuality, because I was also coming into my sexuality feeling, like I finally do want to feel sexy, but also not just for other people's consumption. And I'm just here for them to just be able to look at because I'm cute, wearing something cute out in public.
Yeah, there is so much to be said about being sexy and looking hot and like owning your sensuality for the sake of it,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
for anybody else, and without the
Right.
fear of other people too, being men specifically, not
No shit.
people,
Yeah,
men.
man.
There's a lot of power in that, in just being like, I'm just like this for me. I host a monthly workshop called Coven of Harlots, and it's for women and femmes only. You're welcome
Okay.
to come. It's at Zula Den on the new moon. We get a little bit witchy, but it's also
I
like an
like that.
invitation to wear lingerie and look sexy without it being connected to sex and sexuality or the male gaze or being sexualized, because sometimes it's just fucking good to look hot. And
And
then if you,
feel sexy.
yes.
Yes,
And then
yes.
if you do want to sexualize that, it is your choice to do it in a way that feels good and hot and turned on for you. And if you could fucking
Yes.
make money off of that too,
Right.
like,
Exactly.
why
Yes.
would you fucking not? Why would you not if you're inclined to do it? Fear,
Yeah.
obviously, like there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't. So, what did it feel like for the first time when you like finally like took the plunge and you're like, fuck it, I'm doing it? And also, I love that you started at 30, because that is a different experience from a lot of other people. And I think that's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, because it was something that had crossed my mind when I was 18, 19. But oh my God, thank God I didn't. Because I remember I did stripping for like 2 months with a friend, and even that was overwhelming. It
Yeah.
was fun, but that was a different kind of empowering where I did get to see that all these ridiculous insecurities that I had from society's, stereotypes of bodies was wrong. So that was cool to find that out through dancing. But I just knew, even with that being so overwhelming, that I was not ready to do anything more at 18, 19. But it's so funny because the feeling just kept nagging at me and nagging at me. So yes, I started at 30 when I was finally like, all right, I'm a woman now. I can make this decision on my own. And I felt oddly like this is it. Like it
Yeah.
just didn't feel like enough. I know that sounds
Yeah.
crazy. It just felt so minor compared to some other experiences I had had sexually in life that might have felt more exhilarating.
Mm.
So I was like, I could do this then if this is all it is.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was a guy and a girl, and it just felt like I was like, if this is all it is, I could keep going. That this should be easy. I mean, it wasn't, but it just
Yeah.
felt like the overcoming of the nerves of the sex in the scene was not much. Like, it was bigger in my head. I built it up, and then after it was done, it was just like having sex.
Yeah.
As long as you're someone that confidently has consensual sex that's not linked to like trauma or traumatic situations, which I hadn't been, it was just so fun for me. It was like a casual thing. That's another thing I realized. A lot of people have all these moments and past issues and traumas with sex and then get into sex work, and sometimes it comes up, and that's very unhealthy, and they should definitely work that out first before getting into sex work.
Mm.
And I think people think that's almost a requirement of getting a
Yeah.
prerequisite of getting into sex work. But for me, I actually hadn't. I had a lot of non experiences. And the reason why I wanted to get into sex work was to have those experiences safely. So when I had like my first sex on screen, it was just like, wow, this is just like having sex. It's so
Yeah.
common and easy and normal. It wasn't like this overly sensational thing, which I think we dramatize it to be. There certainly were scenes that were harder to get through than others. Maybe it was super hot in the room. We couldn't have the AC on because it makes noise.
Yeah.
There was a lot of resetting. Maybe the partner, needed to get his hard on together, and we just had to wait through that, and I don't want to make him feel bad, so holding my attitude together,
Yeah.
like,
Like holding
then
space, holding space, holding space.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely moments where if it was like an orgy scene, a lot of different people were going through stuff, and then we just have to keep pausing and not
Hmm.
talk shit because everybody could hear you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's moments where it was hard. But yeah, the first scene was remarkably easy, and I think that was good because then it was like, all right, let's keep doing this.
Yeah. And the things that you're describing are hard is just a part of production.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
not a part of sex. It's not necessarily a part of sex work. It's a part of this is
Yeah.
what it is to produce anything. It's like
Yeah.
you're going to start, you're going to stop. This is going to, you got to adjust something. You got to turn the AC off. You got to like everyone quiet in the room, or like someone coughed in the middle of a take, you know?
Yeah.
It's like we got to do that over again. We didn't get the shot. Like it's
oh my God, so many things. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like for a first time scene, it went remarkably well because I hear of other people's first time scenes. And, you know, there was a girl that one time drank the enema solution because she didn't know what to do with it. And like, you just get so used to everything on set as a person doing sex work, you take for granted the common things that are common to us, that for someone's first time on sex, having sex for work, they might not have ever seen an enema bottle before, and it's a liquid. So they're like, okay, well, I don't know what that must have tasted like. Probably disgusting.
Yeah. And that's also, you know, again, to just bring it back, like people are having real sex.
Yeah.
The sex is real and it is still a performance. There's still a script. There's still beats that you're hitting. There's still all of the elements and aspects of production, including like, just because you've never had this experience in your real sex life doesn't mean that you're not going to perform it. Same thing as intimacy like simulated sex on screen.
Right. Yeah. And it's so cute too, because there's things that we use with intimacy coordinating, like the barriers and the modesty garments. And of course, an actor who's not used to doing intimate scenes hasn't seen those before. So they're like really nervous, like, oh, I know we have to do the thrusting and I really don't want, and I'm like, well, I have this.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh. Okay. Oh, well,
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. And it's so cute because I'm like, oh, you haven't? Okay. Well, yeah, let me introduce you to, you know, this neoprene or this like, you know, bouncy ball thing that we can like.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Whenever I take out the bouncy ball, people are like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like that way you still have something natural to bounce against, but you don't have to worry about any human body parts or any genitalia. You can like put full action into it.
Yeah.
And not worry. And yeah, that really takes so much tension out of that. You've seen it before, obviously.
Yeah. And it's just like the relaxation that even just in my intimacy calls before the shoot, like when people know that we're like talking about these things, we're answering their questions, we're going over the details. And then, like you said, you build things up in your head. And then when we talk through it, they're like, oh, that doesn't sound that. Okay. Yeah. I'm cool with that. And then after the scene, my favorite thing is when an actor is like, oh my God, that was so fun. That was so chill. That was so fun. And everyone on set was like, that was so chill. I'm like, it can be.
Yeah, it really can be. We got through it.
Yeah. And also it's so fucking efficient.
Yes,
like the inefficiency of intimacy scenes pre-intimacy coordinator is just like,
yeah, because you were on sets with that more. So you've seen the evolution.
Yeah. And it's just like not an efficient way to produce, because depending on the director, some directors are more clear than others and do go into the details more, and maybe they had a rehearsal, but like, y'all, the scripts just say they have sex.
Yeah, it doesn't say like the pace, the tone, the speed, anything. That's all up to the director.
Or the body positions.
Yeah,
like, sometimes they'll be like, they come from behind, but like rarely do we even get that. It's very much just like so-and-so make out furiously, or like they kiss passionately, or like they have a sweet embrace. Well, what the fuck is the embrace?
My God, it's so funny. It's almost like, because I watched The Pit, and I listened to the podcast for that too. And they were saying they have a real doctor come in and show them how to do the procedures right before they film it on set, because in the script it will just say a procedure happens.
Yeah.
Just like what we're saying, like it'll just be like, and then they have sex.
Yeah.
And then they make love. And you're like, okay,
like,
what does make love look like? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
How long? You know, how many seconds, how many beats?
Yeah.
And
are they in the bed? Are they here? We're like, where even in the room are they?
So imagine like medical shows, just like having someone just like clanking utensils around, like do procedure, because
that's literally what sex scenes look like.
Yes, before intimacy. And as someone that's very well versed in sex, some scenes do look crazy like that, overly passionate scenes where they're just like bumping and throwing things around. Like, who amongst us, even the most passionate people that like rough sex, like are being banged up against the fucking wall?
Does not look like that. Like, yeah. And as someone who also works at sex parties where I just see a lot of people at the same time having sex, like real sex in front of me, not performing, nothing like that. It's just like you get to see all the different expressions of it, which is super fun and interesting.
Yeah.
And the thing that also gets me with like pre-intimacy coordinator sex scenes, and I actually saw, this was like a year or so ago, I watched a film. This was after intimacy coordinators, but they were like independent, self-funded, husband and wife team, which I was like, y'all needed a fucking intimacy coordinator. But they had a sex scene where it was a woman going down on another woman. And I knew I knew from the first makeout scene that I was like, oh, there was absolutely not. And I was at a talk back with her. So I didn't do it publicly. I did off to the side. I talked to her because I wouldn't
put her on blast.
I wouldn't put her on blast, but I already knew that she didn't have an intimacy coordinator. So I talked about it with her afterwards. But with that first kiss, I was like, there's no fucking way there was an intimacy coordinator. If that's the kiss that you're doing, there's no fucking way that there was an intimacy coordinator there. And then one of the last scenes of the movie was a woman going down on the other woman. And just the placement of the fucking heads and the arms. And I was like, y'all, that's not even anatomically possible.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing? And that's the kind of stuff that we're looking out for because it is obviously like we have to keep barriers there and modest, like there are all those other things, but there's also just like placement on camera.
Yeah, realism. Yeah, because the director and everybody else is looking at their specific thing. The director's looking at, are they saying the lines with the right emotion and this and that? The lighting guy's making sure they're hitting the angles right. And the camera's making sure it's all in focus. So they're not seeing that her elbows popped up like this in the most unnatural way. And it does not look like someone could give a blowjob like that. So maybe you need to tell her to tip that down a little bit and then, angle her head down. And then it's like, you can hear when people like see it all click and it's like, oh, that's what was missing. Yes, the realism.
Technique there. It is really funny and interesting. And also some of our job is literally just like your hip looks weird. Arch your back, point your toes. Also I come from a dance background. So the amount of time I'm like, arch your back, point your toes.
No, yeah, especially like, the actresses and actors, they do want to look their best selves.
Yes.
They really do. And I do notice they're very grateful when you're like, if you just tip your body a little bit more to the left, the light hits you and then they can see your abs more. And then they're like, oh, okay, you want to show that work off.
Yes, absolutely. I actually had an actor once so pro tip, if you just exercise your muscles are going to stay big and look their biggest if you like just do a bunch of push-ups. So oftentimes before intimacy scenes, actors will do push-ups or sit-ups or like they'll engage whatever muscles because those muscles will remain engaged for, a certain amount of time. And I was doing a scene with an actor that had a full chest tattoo. So it was all covered in makeup. And then he did a bunch of push-ups and he got real red.
Oh my God.
So then he like did all these push-ups and then he just like stands up. He's like, do these push-ups. And we're like, oh my God.
So then the makeup looked all crazy on him.
His whole body was like red. Everything was red, splotched with cream. And it was like,
no.
All right, well, we're not going to be able to shoot for a little while. We have to pause here. Cool. So also pro tip, if you're using makeup to cover up something, watch for that. And also that's how to engage your muscles. But a big part of it is us making sure that the technique is there, the safety is there, the communication is there, yada, 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 all that shit. But like, do you look hot on camera?
Yeah. I will be looking flattering? At that. Do you look flattering?
Yeah. Is this the angle? Is this thing that you don't like, is the scar that you don't want to be seen, that you don't want anybody else on set to know about, by the way?
Right.
Is that going to be on camera or not on camera? I will be watching that. I always say half my job is watching bodies.
Right. And watching things that only you know about and only you can know about.
Yeah. That's a big part of it. Like we are secret keepers. Maybe sometimes makeup or costumes know, but if they have the one person that they know is looking out for it, then there's no reason to share that stuff with everybody else.
Because who wants to start rumors on set?
Yeah.
But it becomes something, where you're also holding that secret too, where you're making sure you're not seeing that thing slip out or that thing happen for longer than it needs to.
Or that dynamic too. too. Like sometimes you only know that an actor does not like the other actor.
Yes, and
they're
they're such
holding that
good
shit
actors
together.
that they
Yes.
don't
Yes.
make it obvious. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had a few of those too.
There's just like a lot of stuff to navigate that nobody knows we're doing, but we're doing it. So you can look good on camera and you can get the sex scenes that you love and
you feel your best.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, because God, I could talk to you. I'm like, shit, it's already 43 minutes in. Jesus Christ, this is an hour-long show. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Central Valley of California.
Okay.
So yeah, deserty town, small town, but I think it was a nice upbringing to not grow up in a big city, because knowing me, I probably would have got into everything.
Yeah. So do you remember anything about your sex ed?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember it was in 5th grade. So we were 10. And I remember they split the boys and the girls into 2 different classrooms. And I remember definitely there was a chart where the split in half bodies showed the cut in half penis and all the biological stuff, and the cut in half maybe woman's body with a baby in it.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know the poster. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. This is the most ridiculous memory. The most thing I remember is that we'd all be taking constant bathroom breaks, guys and girls, so we could see each other in the hallways and be oh, what are they talking about?
That is so cute. What are
you
learning? What are you
learning?
Yes,
I definitely remember that. And who would you see in the hallways? Because it was just at random. It wasn't coordinated or anything.
That's so
so
cute.
What boy would be in the hallway if I went out there?
Oh my
hopefully
God.
someone cute.
That is actually,
but it was someone obnoxious. Yeah,
funny because they're the ones that would leave to go to the bathroom.
Of course,
that's fucking adorable. How big was your school? Was it really small?
It was. I don't know what medium-ish is. It didn't seem super small. Maybe there was 4 classes of each grade.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 classes of each grade.
Yeah. And then did you get more as you got older, or was it the kind of situation where it was you had it in 5th, we told you about periods and STIs, you're done?
I honestly feel that was it, except for a half semester somewhere in high school that was something about the STDs and all that stuff. And it was just the fear mongering of the STDs. And I feel that was it.
How did you feel about porn at that age? Whatever you knew about it.
I know. Wow. I definitely, this was the early days of the internet, mid 90s. So I feel I was sneaking internet porn and not realizing there's a history thing, or there was viruses or something. And there was the family computer, one. And unfortunately, I threw my younger brother under the bus. I was well, obviously. Who else do you think it would be, Mom?
You think it would be me?
Yeah, I just led her to think and believe whatever she was going to think. I didn't even blame. I was just who else do you think it would be?
Yeah. Okay, well, I only asked you a question.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave you no answer. I love that shit. That's some Leo shit right there.
Truly.
Yeah, I had a very early curfew, and I was the baby of the family, tight leash, and I was bet I will be home at 9:00, but I will be sucking dick before that.
Yeah, my mom, she would always go on this women's business convention, and she'd be gone for the weekend. And so I remember the year I finally started having sex or whatever, I was oh, she's gonna be gone, invite the dude over, and yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
It was good. And I bribed my younger brother, you could watch TV in Mom's room with the cable, the extra channels, and eat whatever in her bed, which she would never allow. So I was just do whatever you want. Do not open the door.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah, don't fucking open the door. Do not leave the room.
Oh my God. That's adorable.
I
was the baby of the family, so I didn't have any of that. It was just me on my own. I mean, by the time
everyone was gone. Lucky you.
Yeah.
I had to worry about his little butt potentially telling on me. So I had to make the package really sweet.
And I'm lucky that my older sister is 13 and a half years older than me.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So she was a sister mom friend. So I never even had to I don't even remember. I got to ask her. I've never asked her if she told me anything about sex, if she remembers, because I have a shit memory. She has a very good memory, and she was a lot older at the time. I do remember when I had sex for the first time, I called her P&V sex. I called her and I called my brother and I told them. But in my mom worked My dad, I'm from New York. So like my dad was in the city. My mom was working in Jersey. We had the house to ourselves. My sister was
Yeah.
older. She wasn't living in the house. My brother had like the whole downstairs. I didn't really have people over. Like all the fuckery I was doing was outside of the house, but it was still like at a time where we didn't have phones. Like we
Yeah.
weren't being watched.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah, exactly. There weren't trackers, so it's not like people could be like, "Whose house are you at?"
mm-mm.
And it was like latchkey kids or whatever they called us
Yeah.
back then. Like my mom wouldn't get off till like 5:30.
Yeah.
School was out at 2:30, so you had like all those hours of afternoon teenage
Yeah.
angst built up.
I would watch Animaniacs. I actually remember this was
Definitely.
one time I had a bunch of friends over at my house. My mom was working, dad was doing whatever. I think my brother was away too, or he was like doing whatever the fuck he was doing. And I had a bunch of people over and we all watched Kids. And then I'm
Ooh,
pretty
that
sure
movie
some
is
people,
so
that
bad,
movie
good,
was
bad,
good, bad, good.
It was one of my favorites.
Me
just
too.
because they were so like bad, and I
Yeah.
lived in such a like corny, sweet
Oh, yeah.
hometown that was all wholesome. So nothing like that ever happened. I was just like, this is how real city kids live.
And I lived outside of the city. So like
also
we were, I mean, it was the suburbs of the city, but like we
You were
would go
close
to
to
the city
that.
and do shit, you know? Like I grew up, my dad worked in the city, but like my doctor's were all in the city. My school trips were in the city. If we would like go fuck around, we'd go to the
Was in the
city. We'd
city.
like sneak into clubs, like Limelight and
Just
shit, like
that.
fake IDs in the city. So
Ooh.
it's just, that was like, I think for us, it was also like, well, this is fucking real.
You're
Like we
this
don't
is
live in
life.
this city, but like also it's right the fuck there. We
Yeah.
go, as soon as we had cars, we were sneaking our asses to drive out to the city. So yeah, Kids was,
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the closest thing we had was like field parties. Again, we lived in like
oh
kind of like the
yeah.
farm sticks deserty area. So we had field parties, and also we had fog delays in the morning. So like school wouldn't start for like 2 hours. So like
Wow.
yeah, exactly. So they would just give you 2 hours free in the morning for the fog to dissipate. But like your parents still had to go to work.
That's fucking cool.
So
I've never heard of a fog
yeah, it was
delay.
the best ever. So like
Fucking in a fog
right,
delay.
exactly. So like the house or the apartment wherever you lived would be like free until 10:30.
Wow.
And like sometimes you go to like a cool hit kid's house that had like a big ass house and like have like a mini morning party and shit.
That is so cool.
It was the
wow.
coolest.
That's like what they do now where they have like these 6 a.m. raves.
Yes, that's what it felt like. Because back then we had MTV too. So you'd be playing music on the stereo system loud as fuck in someone's house, like making iced coffees and stuff.
That's
getting ready
dope.
for school.
That is really cool.
And
I
then
mean,
the couples are making out in the back.
Oh my God.
The kids are smoking weed, waking and baking.
We were
Good times, wholesome stuff.
Wholesome stuff. Like, listen, that's why harm reduction is so important. Like, kids
it actually
are always
they need a safe space to do things.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't have a third space these days.
Yeah. And the more like my parents were very strict and like the three kids, we were like the three bears basically. My sister was like, she told them everything and was like, don't you want to fucking know? Wouldn't you rather know the truth of what's going on than, me lie and whatever? And they would just yell at each other. My brother was like, I'm just going to lie. Like, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to do whatever the fuck and go lie. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lie, but I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm just not going to tell you things and do what I want within the boundaries that you give me. We love a boundary. Mm-hmm. I wish they were like wider, but I was like, okay, if I can only fuck around till 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to fuck around till 10 o'clock at night, but you can bet your ass I'm going to do whatever the fuck it is that I want to do within that time. So it was very much like, your different ways of being. But then my sister as a parent, because her kids are in their 20s now, she was very much the safe parent. Like, you can come to my house, you can do like, I don't give a shit what the fuck you got going on. You call me at 4 o'clock in the morning. I might give you shit about it, but you call me at 4 o'clock in the morning. And other kids that my nieces and nephew were friends with knew that they could go to her.
That she was the safe house to go to. That's good.
You just need that. Like, kids need that safe space.
They really do. Oh, so much judgment in the world.
It's so fucked.
It really is. And I don't know why it seems like it's getting more fucked.
Yeah. Because the government is trying to kill us and control us too.
Yeah, we're in a very hostile government takeover moment, but we have each other and we have community.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important to continue to support shows like this, to support what you're doing, to support sex work. And we are at time for the show itself,
Oh,
but I do quickly want to just talk about the Free Speech Coalition as
oh,
well,
yay.
because that's, we were at XBiz and I saw you on the panel and they do really
Yes.
good work too. And I think it's just another example of like, everything is really fucked right now, but these organizations are so fucking important to make sure that we have access to information, education, harm reduction, all these things. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Free Speech Coalition is a trade organization for the continued legalization of the adult industry. It fights the legal battles at the federal level, sometimes the local level, depending on the cases. But yeah, we kind of set also the industry standards for safety. And we're self governing, so we're made up of a few employees, which I am one. I'm the industry advocate. And there's input from our board, which are mostly business owners from the industry from various levels, like webmasters or production studios, um, money processors. And basically, the sex world in general is always under some sort of attack legislatively,
Mm.
whether we are aware of it or not. And if it was up to the powers that be, especially in the current government, um, sex work of all kinds would be illegal. Sex education would be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Access to sexual health materials, products, learning tools, all of that would be illegal. And we would just be randomly having sex, not knowing the ins and out of it, getting pregnant, not knowing the ins and out of that, and not being having access to abortions or any other type of healthcare.
And
So
being abused too, because that's a
yeah,
part of it too.
yeah. So all of that to say that Free Speech Coalition tries and does to protect our First Amendment rights to freedom of expression, which expression includes the right to consume sexually explicit materials and the right to produce it, whether other people agree with it or not. We have successfully battled obscenity charges in the past that have been brought against the industry, because the thing is, it's hard to define what is obscene to one person
Yeah.
versus another, and we're still in the middle of a fight right now. The new fight is age verification,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds good because of the name and the label they put on it up front, but unfortunately it's just an extreme way of data privacy collection that includes our sexual online habits, and putting that in a database for people that don't necessarily have our best interests in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already have our data being mined off to all of these social media companies in different ways. But once you put our sexual proclivities in the mix, blackmailing could start becoming a
Mm-hmm.
thing. And it already is with a lot of the scams that people get emailed. And it can only get worse from here with AI and deep fakes, which is called NCII, and child sex abuse material. So all of these things are all connected to our fight against age verification at the platform level. Because sorry, I'm ranting, but
No,
like
do it. I'm locked
websites,
in and it's important. It's
yeah,
really
because
important.
we can say a website needs to put age verification barriers on it, but that's just going to push people to outside websites that are
Yes.
not compliant. And if you put the age verification barrier at the device level, it's just a matter of going to the Apple store and getting it removed if you happen to buy a refurbished computer, or if you need to reset it or something. But that iPad that little Joey's always playing on, or the phone that you share amongst the kids, will never have access to adult websites because of the age verification at the device
Device.
level.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fucking smart too.
And it's so much less complicated because it doesn't require us as adults to constantly have to bring out our ID and enter it into each new website, I mean, even credit cards aren't as cumbersome with they have like the your
Mm-hmm.
automatic. You can't do that with your ID, and I don't think we should be able to. I
Yeah.
think it should be at the device level so we don't have to constantly put our personal data at risk like that.
I love that. I actually did not know that about the device level versus like I didn't know that that was part of what we're trying to do right now. So like thank you for educating me and educating the audience because of course that makes sense. And then then it's just done.
Yeah, it's
like
done.
It's fucking done.
One
You do
and
it
done,
once and you're done. Like
yeah.
yeah, it's similar to like you put your credit card in your phone
Exactly.
and then you just show your face and it's done. You don't have to keep putting it in every single fucking time.
Why the big companies are fighting us on this, the companies that are device producing companies, is a very good question because we've shown them evidence about why this would be a better solution. But hey, we're still fighting that fight. We have a lobbyist in Washington. You can also donate to the cause if you believe in privacy, if you believe in free speech protections, because there are very few actual organizations fighting for our First Amendment rights to freedom of expression in the way that Free Speech Coalition is, in the way that it will trickle down to everybody in society, not just sex workers specifically.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for doing the work on that for sure.
Thank you too for letting me talk about it.
Yeah, of course. That's the power of media, right? Like that's the privilege that I have of having a show is like I can have people on and talk about your stuff. That's really important. We are going to switch to Reddit. So I'm going to just read what I'm gonna give you a little preview of the story, and then anybody who wants to come on over to Patreon. You will have to pay to hear us rant about this shit because that's fun.
Give it up.
Let's see which one. I mean, I have a couple, so it'll depend on how much time we have. But I kind of like this one. Okay, my husband, 37 male, has been seeing other women, and I, 36 female, don't know if I should give him another chance. What would you do? Which some of these stories,
cheating?
Yeah, I want to know, but I want to know more.
Yeah.
Like, because you read these headlines and then it's like, okay, but what is the case? Like, what's actually going on here? The other one that I think we should do, which is fun, is am I overreacting? My daughter didn't listen to the teacher during a female emergency and is now receiving a referral. Like, the fuck is that? So,
are you saying that your daughter? Period.
I think she's bleeding and some teacher is being a fucking asshole. Yeah. Maybe.
Damn.
I don't know, but we're going to find out over on Patreon. But before we do that, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at ICLotus, which is ICY.LOTUS, and on Twitter, I guess, if you want the more explicit stuff, which is at It's Lotus Lain.
Yeah, we're going to link everything below. You can find me at Birds and Bees Don't Fuck Without the U everywhere because censorship is real. And if you can spell my name, power to you. That's my Instagram. So find me there. And otherwise, we'll see you over at Patreon. So thanks for joining us. Oh, what did I said something great on the last one. Thanks for coming. I come again. I don't know. I got to read it back because I was like, damn, that's a good outro line. It was something like,
you should write it on this white paper.
I do. I got to, once I like figure out what it is, I got to play back the last one because I was like, oh shit, that was good. I think it was like, thanks for coming. I hope you come again and again and again and again. Anyway, bye.